Do you want to know what it is? You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Of all the ancient precursor races I've had the pleasure of researching, the Vultuam are the oddest of them all. It must be stated at this point the Vultuam are strange, beyond the strange one would expect for a 12 million year old ancient society. Their priorities and thought processes do not appear to be that of a hyper-advanced dominant empire, although clearly they were exactly that. The Vultuam, also known as the Vultuam star assembly, were a race of worm-like annelids, approximately 3 to 4 meters in length, who communicated primarily through vibrations carried along their segmented bodies. They were long-lived, living circa 270 Earth years, and occupied our galaxy approximately 12 million years ago. The Vultuam seem to have ignored the normally conventionally popular field of artificial intelligence, instead focusing exclusively on virtual realities and massive computer simulations. For lack of a better word, video games. Quite how these simulations were maintained and operated without the appropriate computing power of an AI is beyond our current understanding. In any case, a substantial amount of information regarding their culture comes from ancient copies of these video games, one in particular. Seemingly, it was a multi-user virtual reality game enjoyed by billions of their population across their empire. Other than what we know from the Vultuam video games, we've learnt from beacons designed to relay quite an unusual message. It seems the Vultuam at some point in their development became obsessed with what they call the true existence and instructions that sentient beings must disconnect. It is unclear precisely what they are referring to at this point. Evidence suggests not all in the Vultuam followed this unknown philosophy. We do have dig sites showing a splinter group who firmly did not believe the dominant doctrine. They seem to have existed beyond the wider collapse of the Vultuam society. As we dug more into the Vultuam culture, it seems almost at every turn their settlements followed a similar path. They were destroyed, but not via war or disease. It seemed self-destruction was the culprit. Ranging from orbital stations, mining facilities, and outer colonies, they were all destroyed, often by antimatter bombs deliberately detonated by the Vultuam themselves. It was not until we finally identified and explored their homeworld we understood the true extent of the Vultuam's descent into madness. Their homeworld, while ravaged by a number of massive antimatter explosions, gave us the information required to finish this story. Approximately a century before their extinction, the Vultuam experienced a radical shift in ideology. The why is unclear, but this new philosophy posited that the entire universe they occupied, the one that we now live in, was an artificial reality in which all sapient beings had been unwittingly plugged into for the amusement of some higher power. The Vultuam undertook increasingly radical attempts to forcefully disconnect from the simulation, most of which involved mass suicide. The Vultuam finally concluded that only the simultaneous disconnection of billions of individuals would destabilize the system enough to grant them freedom. At an agreed upon hour, Vultuam across the galaxy killed themselves by any means available, often in the form of gigantic antimatter bombs. Those Vultuam who saw through this madness and refused to take part in the mass suicide were too few to repopulate the species. And so sadly, the Vultuam faded into obscurity and eventual extinction. As bizarre as it might sound, one of our lead scientists, who it must be noted is slightly maniacal, believed the Vultuam may have been onto something. There are rumours of a device, a relic of sorts, that has been left behind after all these years. This relic is named a Vultuam reality perforator, and according to the rumours, the device literally allows you to rewrite reality as we know it for a very short time. Now, if reality is indeed reality, then what or how does the device work? In which case, did the Vultuam make a mistake, or did they discover a terrible secret? Fortunately or not, the secret of the Vultuam will be buried beyond this memo. Should this situation leak to the wider public, it is expected that there would be massive negative reaction, and at a time when our empire does not need the drop in morale, the secret will die with the Vultuam. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more, please click the video on screen now.